I knew something was wrong the moment I read the first line. Construction on Phase 1 is nearly complete. Construction? On what? Because according to the map, the land they were building on was mine, not leased, not shared, not borrowed, mine. But instead of running out there and stopping everything, I made a decision that shocked even my own lawyer. Let them build. Let them finish all of it. Why? Because sometimes the strongest move you can make is to let someone dig their own hole. 20 years earlier, my late grandfather had purchased a huge plot of land outside the city. He held on to every original deed, every update, every boundary mark. When he passed, the land transferred quietly to me. No public notice, no flashy announcement, just a folded envelope and a signature. Over time, the town expanded. Developers started buying land for a new community, a fancy HOA they called White Ridge Meadows. Their plan? 96 high-end homes, a clubhouse, a pool, trails, the whole dream. They thought they owned the land. They thought the previous seller had rights to it. They thought everything was legitimate. But the seller they paid never owned my grandfather's land, not even an acre. I didn't know any of this until the HOA mailed me, by mistake, a notice meant for future residents. That's how I found out they had bulldozed my property line, dug foundations, poured concrete, and planted the frames of almost 100 houses. I drove out there one evening, and the sight stunned me. Rows of half-built houses, dozens of workers, trucks, steel, landscaping, survey flags, all of it on my soil. I stood at the edge of the property, looking at the chaos, and whispered, "Keep going, you're building my case." Any normal person would have called the police, filed a complaint, shut it all down immediately. But I remembered something my grandfather told me when I was a kid. When someone takes something from you, let them take it all. Then they'll have no excuse when you take it back. So I played the long game. I gathered every deed, every map, every historical land record. I hired a quiet title attorney who nearly fell out of his chair when he saw the documents. He said, "If what you're telling me is true, you own every house they're building." I smiled. "Not yet," I said. "Let them finish first." While I waited, the HOA kept building at full speed. They sent out glossy brochures. They advertised online. They held open house events. They installed streetlights. They even named the roads. They were so confident, they never bothered to double-check the land chain. Not once. And the best part? They started pre-selling homes that weren't even complete yet. Families signed contracts. People chose paint colors. Some brought their kids to see the future neighborhood. I watched all of it quietly, knowing the truth was going to hit harder the longer I waited. 3 months later, a large SUV pulled into my driveway. The HOA president stepped out holding a clipboard, wearing a perfect smile. "Hello, we're notifying nearby landowners that our construction is nearly complete." I asked, "Which land?" He pointed confidently toward MY Fields. "Our community land," he said. I asked again. He insisted. He smiled. And in that moment I knew he truly believed they owned it. I thanked him, closed the door, and waited for the final nail. They held a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Balloons, news cameras, a local official giving a speech, the HOA board posing with giant scissors. An entire community finished. And that same week, I filed one single document, a quiet title action based on original deed ownership. And that is when the real storm began. The HOA walked into court expecting a routine hearing. Instead, I walked in carrying the one thing they never checked, the original deed. And when the judge opened that file, his eyebrows lifted so high the room froze. But what happened next shocked everyone. The courtroom was small, quiet, and filled with tension you could almost see in the air. On one side sat the entire HOA board, polished, confident, whispering to each other. On the other side, just me, a single man with a folder older than most people in the room. The judge looked down at the documents and asked one question that dropped the temperature instantly. Do you all realize these homes are built on land you do not own? The HOA president laughed nervously. Your Honor, there must be a misunderstanding. But there wasn't. Not even close. My attorney walked forward and laid down the original deed, the land survey, the full chain of ownership, the tax records, the mineral rights, every signed transfer from 1951 to now. Everything matched. Everything checked out. The judge leaned back and said, "This appears to be uncontested proof. The petitioner owns the land." The HOA room went silent, a kind of silence that feels like the air gets heavier. The president whispered, "This can't be happening." But it was. The judge cleared his throat and delivered the line that changed the whole community. Since the land belongs to the petitioner now legally owns every structure on it. Every house, every road, every lamp post, every square foot of construction. All of it, mine. The HOA attorney tried to argue, but the judge stopped him. Your clients built an entire development on land they never purchased. This is not a small error. Suddenly, the HOA president stood up and said, "We can pay him. We'll buy the land now." But the judge shook his head. "Too late. You should have verified ownership before building." They begged. They offered deals. They tried to negotiate. But the law was clear, and my documents were flawless. Over the next few weeks, homebuyers demanded refunds. The developer faced massive losses. The HOA board resigned. Construction companies pulled out. The bank launched an investigation. News stations covered the story everywhere. And me? I stood on the hill overlooking the brand new neighborhood, the one they built without permission, and whispered, "Grandpa, you were right. Let them take it all. Then take it back." People always ask, "Did you sell them? Did you rent them? Did you level the place? Did you move in?" Here's the truth. I kept the land, sold only a portion of the houses, leased the rest at fair prices to families who'd been caught in the middle. And every month, as payments arrive, I remember one lesson that changed everything. Never fight too early. Sometimes waiting is the smartest move of all. In the end, the HOA built $1 million neighborhood. But the land, the homes, the final victory, all of it came back to the person who owned it from the very beginning.